What's up, fiends? Alucard here. Today, we're going to talk about the best horror movies to stream for free this holiday season. Alright, so all the movies I'm going to talk about today are streaming free somewhere. I will let you know where, and let's get into it. So the first one we're going to talk about is called All the Creatures Were Stirring. It's a horror anthology film directed by Rebecca and David Ian McKendrick. The wraparound plot is a couple on a date, kind of a disastrous date, and they go to a theater, and the stories unfold from that. It's a pretty decent little movie. I know some people gave it crap, but I was entertained by it. And that one is currently streaming for free on Plex. Alright, next up we have Anna and the Apocalypse. I was actually introduced to this movie through Horror Pack, and I actually liked it a lot. It's way better than I expected. It is a zombie Christmas musical. You heard right. The songs are pretty, most of them pretty decent. The acting I thought was pretty good. The zombies action was pretty good. It's a neat little story. It's a British movie, and it is currently streaming on Pluto TV. Alright, next on our list is Better Watch Out. The best way to describe this one is if Home Alone was a slasher flick. Kinda. I do know a few people that didn't like this one as well, but I thought it was fun. I don't know why people give these movies such crap. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're supposed to be fun little movies, you know. And I enjoyed this one. If you think Home Alone as a slasher sounds fun, give this one a whirl. It is streaming on Tubi. All right, next up we have Black Christmas, the original from 1974. Don't watch either remake; they're garbage. This is the original slasher flick, directed by Bob Clark. Stars Olivia Hussey, John Saxon, Margot Kidder, and a couple other people. But it is one of the quintessential slasher flicks. And of course it is set at Christmas time. It's at a college, and you know, most of the folks go home for Christmas, but they all stay on campus, and you know, there's a killer. I'm not going to say too much more about it, but it's definitely a good time. And Black Christmas is currently streaming on Tubi. Alright, next up we have Christmas Evil from 1980. So basically he becomes a killer Santa, killing all the naughty people in town. It is a good time. It is an early 80s slasher, so prepare for that. And Christmas Evil is streaming right now on Tubi. Alright, next is one of my favorites, Elves from 1989, starring Dan Haggerty. This movie is about a lady who gets wrapped up in this like Nazi conspiracy thing, and the Nazis are using these elves to kill people. It's really bizarre. And Dan Haggerty plays the store Santa. That it kind of helps her and stuff. It's bizarre as all heck. It's super fun. I love it. I watch it every year, and it is streaming on YouTube. All right, next one's might throw you for a loop. It's a 1972 TV movie called Home for the Holidays. This movie is about four sisters that get called back to their dying dad's like will. You know, well, he's not dead yet, but anyway, he gets them all back, and he's like, I think my wife's trying to kill me. Can you kill her? And it's this whole thing. It's a really good TV movie. I've been watching some pretty good TV movies lately. They're pretty good. And it stars a young Sally Field. Yeah, it's a good time. I do recommend it, and it is currently streaming on YouTube. All right, next up we have Jack Frost from 1997. Nope, not the Michael Keaton one. The Killer Snowman one, of course. You know, it's one of those that has one-liners every like 10 seconds. It's about a killer who dies and manifests himself into a killer snowman. Yeah, I know. But it's really funny. And there's some fantastic one-liners in it. And it features a young Shannon Elizabeth. And Jack Frost is currently streaming on Tubi. Next up, we have a 1975 Italian flick called Last Stop on the Night Train, also known as The Night Train Murders. This movie is directed by Aldo Latto, who, if you're familiar with Italian horror and Italian cinema, he's kind of a big name. Anyway, this movie is about these two girls on a train. Shocker, I know. Anyway, they get harassed by these three, like, killer biker people. It's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense movie. And it does happen around Christmas time. I believe it was one of the Video Nasties, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'll double check for you. But yeah, check it out. It's currently streaming on YouTube. All right, next up we have Once Upon a Time at Christmas. This is another like killer Santa movie. This is sort of the British version of it. I enjoyed it. I know it kind of has a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and all that. But again, what are you expecting? It's a slasher flick. These are supposed to be dumb, fun movies, and I thought this one qualified. And it is currently streaming on Tubi. All right, next up we have one of my favorite Christmas movies, Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. This is a Finnish, somewhat horror. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but the basics is this kid discovers the real Santa Claus, but the real Santa Claus is not what you think it is. And I'm gonna leave it at that. We do watch it every year now. It is one of my, it might even be my favorite holiday movie. But give it a shot, watch it. It is currently available on Tubi. Next up we have the very goofy Santa Jaws. I initially watched this because it was filmed near where I live. It's a very goofy killer shark, holiday mishmash. It's very enjoyable. There is some heart to it. You know, given the script and whatnot, I thought the actors did a pretty decent job. The effects, of course, were all CG, but I mean, the shark, you know, in the water with the Santa hat on is just like the best thing ever. I love it. That one is currently streaming on YouTube. All right, next up we have Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg. Yes, Bill Goldberg, the wrestler. This is probably the best thing he ever did. I think he's a horrible wrestler. This is the best thing he's ever done, bar none. He plays this like demon killer Santa thing. Like the real story of Santa is that he's a demon, and so he kind of manifests himself back and starts killing everybody. Again, it's filled with one-liners all over the place, and you know, Goldberg just really revels and plays a real great villain, which, go figure. Anyway, Santa's Sleigh is streaming on Plex. Next up we have Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. This is the one that caused all the controversy. The parents were all up in arms back in the day. Yeah, how can you have a killer Santa in the trailers? All these kids are watching, blah blah blah. Yeah, but it's another quintessential holiday slasher flick. Yeah, this kid sees mommy kissing Santa Claus, and this is sort of the horror equivalent of that song. And it is currently streaming on Tubi. Next up, we have Sleigh Bells. This movie is about a bunch of LARPers, live action role players. and they have to team up with the real Santa Claus to battle Krampus. This movie has a bunch of pretty cool people in it. It has Barry Bostwick, Christina Klebe, or Klebe, I don't know how she pronounces it, and Susan Slaughter from Ghost Hunters in one of her acting roles. I thought it was fun. Yeah, of course it's goofy. It's a holiday slasher Krampus thing. Of course it's going to be goofy, but it's a good time. And that's what we're looking for. And Sleigh Bells is streaming currently on Tubi. All right, next we have To All a Good Night from 1980, directed by David A. Hess, who was the killer Krug in the original Last House on the Left. It's a pretty standard slasher flick, but hey, I like slashers, so I enjoy this one. And it is currently streaming on YouTube. All right, the next one I'm going to recommend is actually a short called Treevenge. It's a Canadian short. It's about 16 minutes long or so. It's about the trees getting revenge for getting cut down every year. It's really well done. The acting's fantastic. And it's also on YouTube. All right, and these next four that I'm going to talk about are not horror related, but I thought I should throw these in anyway. First up is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians from 1964. Yeah, this is super silly. It was riffed on Riff Trax and Mystery Science and all those guys. It's super funny. And it even has the little young Pia Zadora in it. And yeah, it's just a goofy good time. If you're just in the mood for complete silliness, that's the way to go. And right now it is streaming on Tubi. All right, next up we have Ernest Saves Christmas. Yes, I know, Ernest. This is actually my favorite Ernest movie. I like the first like 3 or 4, maybe 4, yeah. First 4 are really good. The rest of them are pretty garbage. But this is the second Ernest movie. And he helps Santa Claus. Jim Varney, is absolutely fantastic. He always was. I love you, Jim. But so good. And it is streaming on IMDb TV, which is an offshoot of Amazon, which is the free, kind of like the free version of Amazon Prime. And these next two are also on IMDb TV. We're going to talk about, I'm going to mention 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler animated Hanukkah movie. But this animated movie is hilarious. And like I said, it is available on IMDb TV. And the last free one I'm going to talk about, it's a Christmas movie, Die Hard, on IMDb TV. I think everyone's seen Die Hard. It all takes place during a Christmas party. So guess what? It's a Christmas movie. I don't care what you say. And now I will mention a few movies that are on paid streaming services. I know they're not free, but I just thought I should throw out a few more recommendations anyway. So on Shudder, they have a new movie called The Advent Calendar. It's a Belgian horror film with this paraplegic lady is gifted an Advent house. And every day she opens a new thing, and she has to do it. And she has to eat whatever, and then all this crazy stuff starts happening. Like this one dies, this one falls in love with her, and anyway, it's really good. We watched it the other night on Shudder. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it if you have Shudder to watch The Advent Calendar. And a couple more on Shudder is A Christmas Horror Story. It's a Canadian film. The cover has Krampus versus Santa Claus. So that kind of gives you an idea. And William Shatner's in it. Deadly Games is another fantastic French film. The kid versus Santa Claus, but like Home Alone style. It's another Home Alone style thing, but this one's a little more, it's not slashery, it's more Rambo, I guess you could say. And the other one on Shudder I'd recommend is called Saint. It's a Dutch film about Santa Claus. And of course Disney Plus has Nightmare Before Christmas and A Muppet Christmas Carol, which, in my personal opinion, The Muppet Christmas Carol is the best version of A Christmas Carol ever made. And then finally, HBO Max has quite a few good ones. They have Batman Returns, they have Gremlins, they have Lethal Weapon. First one takes place during Christmas time. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the classic, of course. And Rocky IV, which also takes place at Christmas time. And I mean the real Rocky IV, not this newfangled Rocky versus Drago, whatever. I haven't even seen that yet. I will eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, the original Rocky IV. So anyway, I hope you enjoy my recommendations. Please check them out. So leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've seen any of these movies and what you thought of them. Or if you plan to watch any of them, also leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I will leave links below to all the free ones in the description box below. So if you enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And subscribe if you're new. And I will see all you guys next time. And remember, have a spooky holiday season. Peace.